Because I have a dream that my four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Martin Luther King Jr.'s leadership in the civil rights movement of African Americans was sparked by the Montgomery bus boycott. This was when Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a city bus in Montgomery, Alabama, and was arrested on December 1, 1955. King gave one of his first major speeches 4 days later, which encouraged supporters to continue to boycott the city buses in Montgomery until they gained justice on the city buses. He was also elected president of the Montgomery Improvement Association and official spokesman for the boycott. They found victory on November 13, 1956, when Supreme Court ruled bus segregation illegal.
He continued his work by planning, organizing, and participating in sit-ins in the South. It started in Greensboro, North Carolina, and spread through surrounding states involving 15 cities. These sit-ins helped accomplish desegregation in public facilities. One of King's culminating achievements was his March on Washington on August 28, 1963. Nearly 250,000 people peacefully gathered to quicken the pace of the movement to get the rights they wanted. During this march, Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech, which moved many people.
In Birmingham, Alabama, King and many others went to peacefully protest segregation but got abused and arrested. These protests resulted in young blacks getting attacked by dogs and abused with fire hoses, which led to America's civil justice system looking foul. Martin Luther King was abused by police and sent to the Birmingham jail for protesting without a permit.
During his time in prison, he wrote his famous Letter from Birmingham Jail to the general people of America. This informed them that they have the right to protest unjust laws. This letter affected Americans because it showed them that they had the power to fight for what they believed in without violence. These protests resulted in the creation of the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
From Selma, Alabama to Montgomery, Alabama, blacks marched with Martin Luther King Jr. to diminish racism in voting in 1963. This showed his impact on civil rights when President Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act of 1965 on August 6th, which cleared all discrimination in voting.
Martin Luther King Jr. gave many moving speeches through the civil rights movement. His most famous speech, I Have a Dream, was given during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. It showed the suffering that the black community was faced with. He painted a picture of what America was like and opened the eyes of many American people, gaining more followers. As he continued his movements, he delivered more speeches that would further impact the civil rights movement.
I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
His final speeches, I See the Promised Land and I've Been to the Mountaintop, were given on April 3, 1968. They encouraged his followers to continue their movement and gave them hope for the future that their goal was in reach.
On April 4, 1965, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. After his death, America was greatly affected, but this gave them even more encouragement to fight for their equal rights.
In one moment, just one moment, it all ended. That shot affected America. It affected Black America in such a way, I can't begin to express to people what happened. I know how I felt. I mean, the tears would not stop. And Martin was dead.
I have some very sad news for all of you, and I think sad news for all of our fellow citizens and people who love peace all over the world. And that is that Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis, Tennessee.
Martin Luther King Jr.'s wife, Coretta Scott King, devoted her time and energy to the building and developing of programs for the Atlanta-based Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolent Social Change. To this day, the center stands as a memorial of King's life and dreams for America. On August 8, 2011, the 48th anniversary of his I Have a Dream speech, a memorial was built in Washington, D.C. This was built in memory of Martin Luther King Jr.'s extreme impacts on America and the civil rights movement. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter.
We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope.
Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that.
Forgiveness is not an occasional act. It is a permanent attitude.
I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear.
The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moments of comfort and confidence, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy.
A man who won't die for something is not fit to live.
We may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now.
Change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle.
There comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular, but he must take it because conscience tells him it's right.
According to MPS.gov, his inspiration broke the boundaries of intolerance and even national borders as he became a symbol recognized worldwide of the quest for civil rights of the citizens of the world.